Welcome to Power Up, Maximize Your Potential. I'm your host, Cheryl.
And I'm your host, Eric. This is the space where innovation meets transformation, and you have one goal.
And that's to power up. DreamSpire Books Virtual Launch Box. Everything you need for a successful virtual book launch in one place. Timelines, press release templates, social media advertising info, graphic design, an interview on our streaming network, and a personal coaching session. Don't forget your thank yous and so much more. Visit us at www.dreamspirebooks.com for more information. Hi, welcome to Power Up, Maximize Your Potential. My name is Cheryl Mays, and I am one of your hosts for this show. And my other host here is
Eric Williamson. Nice to be here. Welcome to our first Power Up show. You excited, Cheryl?
Absolutely. This is so exciting. I am so excited to be a part of this. We've been waiting a very long time to bring this show to you, and now we are ready and excited about it. So we're going to start, Eric, by just telling a little bit about ourselves, because I think you want to know who we are.
Right? I would think so.
So I'm Cheryl, and I'm the president of Rise and Shine CF, which is a consulting firm where we focus on leadership development, employee engagement, and business processes. And we are excited to be a part of this show because it allows us to continue to do what we do. And that's to help people, to help them in growth, in development, to help them ascend in their careers as well as in their lives. So this is just an extension of what we do.
Yeah. And my name is Eric Williamson. I'm the president and CEO of Tailored Training Solutions. And I fall along the intersection of emotional intelligence, leadership development, and professional development. And I help people work with jerks, just like my book titled, Working with Jerks. And it also helps people maximize their potential as well by promoting a jerk-free environment to build stronger relationships with the people that you work with and serve.
So if you're a jerk or you work with jerks, contact Eric.
There you go. There you go.
Well, once again, we are excited to be here, and we have a great show in store for you. So you definitely have to stay tuned because we're going to go to a commercial break, and then we'll be right back. So welcome back. Thank you so much for coming back with us on Power Up, Maximize Your Potential. This month, we are excited to not only bring the show to air during this time, but it's also an opportunity for us as trainers, as coaches, to be able to partake in this month, which is Self-Improvement Month. So we are very excited to be able to come to you with individuals that are going to share not only their businesses, but techniques as to how they've leveled up their business, how they've powered up their employees, how they've actually had the opportunity to gain in their profit margins, and all of those things that it takes for you to be a successful business owner or just to level and power up in your life. So we have these individuals that are going to come on and they're going to share these techniques with you. And we're going to ask them some questions that's going to allow you to get a little more in depth with how they do what they do and how to contact them if you're interested in actually taking it to the next level. So I am excited today because we have Christine Parakis. Christine is joining us. She is a business growth architect, And she's also worked with small business owners, getting them from 0 to 8 figures in record time. So you want to hear about that. Hi, Christine.
Hello, Cheryl and Eric. It's so good to see you guys.
Good to see you too.
Well, welcome back to Power Up. We are here with Miss Christine Parakis. And Christine, I did give a little bit about your bio, but I want to finish because there's some interesting things that we're going to talk about that this is your area of focus. Mm-hmm. So not only do you help small businesses go from 0 to 8 figures in record time, but you're also a strategic advisor. You use your experiences from being an attorney, a serial entrepreneur, and a C-suite executive in 10 businesses. And get this, because it's not over yet, she is a professionally licensed 100-ton boat captain.
What? That's impressive.
And she is the author of 2 books. The first one is The Entrepreneur's Essential Roadmap. Take your business from 0 to 7 figures in record time. And then the most recent one that was newly released is The Resilient Leader, Life-Changing Strategies to Overcome Today's Turmoil and Tomorrow's Uncertainty. So welcome, Christine, to Power Up.
Thank you both so much. I'm so honored to be here. I really appreciate you having me.
Well, we're excited because this is the first show.
I know. I can't believe it. I feel like I landed the jackpot. Huge honor. So when you guys have 100 shows under your belt, one day you'll go, remember that first show? Gosh, we should have gotten a better guest. So right now I'm the best guest you've ever had. So thank God. Phew, the pressure's off me.
There you go, right? You set the record really high though.
Right. That's right. I'm doing it.
Well, Christine, we're going to go ahead and allow you to tell us about your company, tell us about how you got started, and what is it that you do for businesses?
Well, it's funny because I'm thinking about, people who go into these things systematically, right, with a vision and a mission and a plan and the whole thing, right? And I'm the kind of person that needs to be drop kicked into change. So I went to law school with the idea that I was going to get a legal education that I could use in business. But, it's the golden handcuffs when we get these great jobs and, prestige. And, I never really had the slinging drinks for a living kind of thing. They got me through school, but, never had to struggle other than to, do well enough in school and get my MBA and my law degree and all that and get to work. And, it was so comfortable to be in that role. And I was only 25 years old thinking about what am I going to, this is going to be the rest of my life, working day and night, having no social life because I'm not available, and having, that kind of clarity to be able to say, no, this isn't for me. I need to get into becoming the entrepreneur that I really am. And so, I don't recommend a car accident to anybody, but we all have what I call these category 5 experiences in life where we get this opportunity to look at what have we created up to this point. And we are, in the moment this is recording, in the middle still of a global pandemic, which to me is the one category 5 storm that the entire world is sharing right now. My last book came out of my experiences surviving 2 category 5 hurricanes in 2 weeks, including one that blew the roof off my house, left me buried alive for almost 24 hours, and stranded on my island nation for a couple of months just to survive, eating, finding food, water, cooking gas, no telecoms, all of that, back to basics. And, we've all been through things like that, right? The financial distress, the business failures, the relationships that blow up. So you may not relate to hurricanes, but I can assure you that there isn't anybody listening here right now that hasn't experienced their own form of category 5. And now we're all experiencing something together. It doesn't change the fact that the clouds, the rain's still coming down, the winds are still howling because we're not on the other side of it yet. And I wasn't writing my book while I was in the storm either, right? I was just praying that I would live through to see the light of day and that somebody would come rescue me. But I went into this situation without a plan, without any idea how I was going to communicate with anyone, with nobody coming to look for me. And that's the kind of experience that forces you to say, what was I thinking? And I think it's those kinds of things that we have an opportunity to make amazing leaps forward if we just use them. And so that's what I think the pandemic has been, certainly for me and for others that I know. And it's an opportunity that we all have when these things come up to say, was I on the right path? Do I just need to get back on, or do I need to make a new path for myself? And, I know we've kind of exhausted the word pivot in the times of the pandemic, but, how are we serving? Does it continue to serve? And so that's always been my query. And I've just had these opportunities where things have stopped short to get my attention because I'm very stubborn. I'm the jerk that other people have worked for, So I need to get Eric's book so that I can learn. I'm the best boss and the worst boss. Yeah. But, seriously, I mean, we my last category 5 was building a business from 100% equity funded startup to a $10 million a year company in 4 years. And we employed 160 people out of that, over time. And the growth that we had was as much of a category 5 situation as any other kind of, bad thing happening. So even something as great as having that kind of success can have the impact of a category 5 on you. And, I was ill-equipped to really be a senior executive for a large team like that. And for a startup that was growing so fast that, my cash flow was at risk, my, keeping the doors open, keeping payroll going, all those things can be, so heavy and require, one has to really understand what's going on, what's needed of me, and we have to have someone to talk to, right, that we can trust. And that's why you guys do what you do, because that people like me have no one to talk to, right? I can't talk to my team. I can't talk to my partner. He's too busy generating the business. I'm too busy staying in my lane. So yeah, we really need to be able to have somebody in our corner that's tread the path we're on, that can help shine the light where we need it,
Yeah. That's a great point, Christine. Thank you for sharing that. And, you are a well-accomplished entrepreneur. I've looked you up. I've done some research on you. And I was very impressed by one of your recent videos. You were talking about this float plan that organizations or professionals need. And all 3 of us were entrepreneurs, right? But we didn't just happen to become who we are, as successful as we are. You didn't just happen to be that. My entrepreneur experience, my first time being an entrepreneur, it was rocky at best. And so I'm just wondering, would you be able to share a little bit, provide some insight about your first time going into entrepreneurship and whether, what was useful for you? Did you use that? Is that where you got the float plan from, or did you use it? Did you learn about it, or did you implement it down the road?
Well, the float plan comes from my book, which is that I introduced the 7 barometers of resilience. And these are the resilience and leadership lessons that I've learned through my experiences in these category 5 situations. So there are things that I've been doing all along, and they really got crystallized starting in the dark hours of the night when I was trapped alone with no idea how I was going to get out of my situation. And so the float plan is it's the ability, I have started businesses with business plans and without. I've had clients do the same. And back in those days, especially when we were putting together 50-page business plans with a lot of paper and a lot of projections that are worth about the price of the paper. And so it gets shoved in a drawer like it has for me, with my businesses. You get the business going and you're so busy doing the business that you never look at your plan. And so the float plan was designed to be something that can become an actionable tool. and it can live and breathe, and it can be handed out to everyone, and it contains within a single page the entire vision for the business, its reason for being, and also what the big, hairy, audacious goals are for the business. And then you can work backwards into how do you get there, right? So if you start with the big vision of, 20, 25 years down the road, what are we really here for? What's our primary core value and purpose? And then work backwards to the 5-year and the 3-year and then the quarterly goals. That allows you to actually fill in the steps. And then you can continue to evaluate on a quarterly basis, and everybody's involved because it's something you can hand out, and then it lives and it doesn't get shoved in a drawer because you're actually taking action on it.
Right.
So I take it from my mariners, and my book has a lot of references to mariners' lives and rules, and how we go at sea, how things are when we're at sea. And so no boat captain would ever leave the dock without filing a float plan. So in the sea life, we actually go to the trouble of identifying who's on our team, what resources do we have, what are the obstacles we're going to come across, what do we need to do to get to where we want to go, where are we going, how long should it take us to get there, and who is interested in our safe arrival. I've delivered boats that were people's homes. So I've got in my care, out to sea where life happens, death happens, nature takes over and is in charge, where I've had people's lives and livelihoods and homes in my care. And so, it's like that for us in business, right? Where we are actually, these are our livelihoods, these are our families depending on us, this is our well-being. And so we want to know, have we thought of as much as we can think of? Are we prepared? Have we done enough planning? And can we predict what's going to come in anticipation? So that's the idea of the float plan, is don't leave home without it, and make sure that your stakeholders all know what's in it.
Yeah.
What I find so interesting is the correlation between the sea and how you actually look at businesses and how you help business owners to see businesses. I had a leader once share with me that smooth seas never make for an experienced sailor.
Yes.
And so there has to be those rough times where you literally can now use the tools, use the techniques, use the things that you've gathered, from your experiences to actually say, okay, wait a second. I have the stuff that I need. Now I just need to implement it. And that's what you do, is to help them do that.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing because I've had a boat for 15 years and I took off a big bite, right? It's my life, right? Who I am. I bought a 46-foot blue water cruiser because my dream has been to sail around the world. And I just leapt right into the boat that could do that. But I'd never owned a boat before. I didn't know anything other than how to sail a boat and how, wind works and how to drive and things like that. But talking about below deck, nothing. And so it was experiences of making a ton of repairs, having all the systems hit their 5-year life about the same time, and spending 6 months and all my money and getting a PhD and boat ownership. Right. And then, driving boats and I drove taxis, water taxis for a summer after I got my license for the fun of it, after selling my last business, and, getting people in and out of small spaces and safely when there's, a crowd of people on your boat where everybody's watching, and especially a female captain, they love that stuff. And so, it's that kind of pressure and practice that really gets you the confidence that you need. So we have to go through these failures, and it's the same in business,
Right. Yeah, I can completely see that. I mean, especially during these times right here. I mean, you mentioned it before about, this pandemic, the social unrest, things that are going on. It's just a really extreme time, and resilience to me is like needed now more than ever before. And so your book, The Resilient Leader, I don't think it could have come at a better time, right now, The Resilient Leader. So, I mean, would you mind sharing a little bit more about that? I know you talked about the float plan, but what inspired you to put this together, and, some other information you could share about it as well?
Well, it's funny that you ask, right? This is my second book. So I wrote a book because that's what you're supposed to do, right? It's today's business card, right? We used to have business cards, then we had websites, now we have a book. So I got my book out. I was thrilled with it. It was a bestseller. We had a huge launch with a lot of support from my community. And I was really, pleased to have done that. But it was actually when I was in the storm and I realized I was trapped, that I became the author that I am. And it wasn't the conscious thought by any means. It was just that moment of realization when I knew I wasn't getting out of this situation by myself, that I had put myself in. Literally, I was the only person I knew on my island that had weathered the most powerful storm to hit the Atlantic basin ever. Who did that alone, and I didn't even realize it for months later. It was really it took me a while to figure out what I put myself into because it's that traumatic, but in that moment, and I ask anybody who's listening and watching us, what would you do if everything was taken away? You have no access to the internet, your people aren't around, you can't communicate with anyone. What is the one thing we can do? And that is to get a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil out and start writing. And so a voice inside my head said to me, as the panic is starting to rise, get a piece of paper. Let's write everything down that we can remember about this experience, everything we did right, everything we did wrong, and let's remember it all. And I even had the possession in me to, take audio and video recordings that I could get off while I still had power on my phone. And so it's the act of writing. In fact, there are scientific studies about this, that when you physically write, the brain is communicating through the hand. It activates the prefrontal cortex, and which is the problem-solving part of the brain. So you quiet down the panic emotions of the amygdala, and you get the problem-solving brain working. And I couldn't tell you to this day what exactly I did in those 24 hours, but I do still have my list. And I will never forget what things that I wrote down that I had almost, that I had done right and things I had done wrong, and own my own, mistakes and failures. And so it was that moment, I think, that the book was born, and the recognition that is what got me through the night, literally. And so, it's writing is something we can do when we have no answers, when we don't know the next step. And it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be for anything. I wasn't writing a book when I was writing that list. It was just, turns out that I'm a writer. And so, so that's where it got started. And I think that it's really important to know that, because as entrepreneurs, how often are we just immobilized, whether it's fear or lack or something's not coming together, relationships fall apart, financing doesn't come through, your best customer leaves you, and takes 80% of your revenue with you. These things happen to all of us. And, to know that there are steps you can take to get through the storm until you get out onto the other side and you can deal with the aftermath, which my 7 barometers speaks to as well. I think right now we're still in the storm of the pandemic, and people are just, exhausted and swirling and not sure what to do next. Some people are thriving, or, their businesses have taken off because they have something that the situation calls for. But the rest of us are figuring out what's it going to look like on the other side. You got to come out of the apocalyptic, aftermath to really see, what do I have to deal with here and what's needed.
And I think, sometimes you can't see your situation because you're in the situation.
Right.
And you don't get to use that third lens until it's after the fact. Christine, thank you so much. Listen, guys, we're not going anywhere. We're going to go to a commercial break, and then we're going to come back because we have some more conversation and some more questions for Miss Christine Parakis that is going to help us and help you in your business. We'll come back.
All right.
Well, welcome back to Power Up, Maximize Your Potential. This is Cheryl Mays here with Eric Williamson and Miss Christine Parakis. And we are having a conversation with Christine about how she helps businesses go from 0 to 8 figures in record time. And we were talking about the book that she has out now. But I also want to segue, Christine, because you have an opportunity for businesses to get a grant in order to participate in your program.
Yeah, so I wanted to, what happens for people like us, right? When you're experts in your field is that you become, as you get better at what you do and your offerings, it gets more inaccessible because you need to charge your value and people need to be able to invest in your services. And so I wanted to be able to have a solution for people that couldn't afford to invest with me personally, but would get the very best of what I know are the nuts and bolts for getting businesses off the ground. So for your audience, we have an online business advisory that's literally like having a 24/7, 365-day business coach in your corner that feeds out a 52-week e-learning system that's divided in an organized fashion around creating a market-dominating position, your vision and your mission and the market-dominating position, and then how marketing strategy and teaching people how to actually develop a marketing strategy that generates the leads you want and allows you to convert them, and then how to turn that into profitability, and finally how to scale the business. This is over the course of a year that feeds it out on a weekly basis, very bite-sized. You can't work ahead, so you get overwhelmed, but also has vast strategies, tactics, and resources, plug-and-play resources that you can pull into for whatever the business is calling for right now. And then, we also have a group coaching, weekly group coaching that comes with this. And that's the piece that we are, so we're offering a grant to allow small businesses in need, especially during this time right now in the pandemic, to be able to have access to this. And then all they have to do is pay the cost. So we get the full system, 52-week e-learning system, all the strategies, this massive marketing campaign library that has 140 different industries with tried and true and practiced marketing campaigns, and lots of other plug-and-play scripts and emails, sales scripts, things like that. And then the weekly group coaching, all that is covered as part of the grant. And it's just paying the hard costs for this at a very special price. It's usually $297 a month, and I can offer it to your readers for $97 a month, or $997 for the year. So that's my, and we're covering all the rest for that, which is usually a $6,000 program.
That's amazing. Thank you for offering that to our viewers. I think that's so exciting because I've had a chance to go to the site, and it is truly a massive library. As you said, just the nuts and bolts from how to even gain more business by just formatting your business card differently. Right. Which I think is just huge, when you're looking at that and networking and how to market. And then there were industries, if you were a veterinarian, if you were in real estate, if you were in sales, there are templates that are already designed for your specific industry. So it truly is an easy opportunity for you, especially when you find that you're that solopreneur and you're doing it all. Yep. You're the finance, you're the accountant, you're the marketing person, you're the social media person, you're the assistant, you're the person that takes out the garbage, all of that.
Well, and it's overwhelming, right? And what people do most of the time is they think tactically, right? We all think we got to get Facebook ads out there. We got to, LinkedIn campaign. We have to do we throw a bunch of tactics at the wall, hoping that something sticks. And none of it has a strategic purpose or strategic plan around it. So that's the point of this education and the materials, is to first understand that we got to think strategically about our marketing. We have to have a market dominating position. And what does that mean? It means that we are inside the heads of our ideal client, and we understand the number one problem that they have and don't want, or the number one result that they want and don't have, and that we can communicate to them in a single headline that we understand that, and in the sub-headline, we know how to solve that. And then we go about educating them with along the buyer's journey, right? That 90% of our prospective clients are not in a buy now mode, right? Unless you're a plumber or, a point of sale gum, company selling gum or emergency services. And so it's our job to educate people along their journey and answer those questions in their heads of why they should hire you. And then why shouldn't they? And be able to respond to all that so that by that time you make them an offer they can't refuse. Right.
Yeah. I think it's such a creative way to be able to invest in this program because, securing a grant to do that. I mean, I know I'm just thinking in my head, like other people will say, well, how are we going to afford this? And it's like, well, here, I can help you with that. So you're anticipating that kind of question. So that is spot on. That is so creative.
Yeah, and it's amazing. We have a profit acceleration software. All of this I can create in a single half a day session, the ability to create all that information that we have in this program and turn it into a custom roadmap for the client, and using my profit acceleration software that I have access to. So we can take it another level even. So it doesn't just stop with now that you have all this at your fingertips, because business owners are overwhelmed, right? Michael Gerber says in his, the E-Myth Revisited, he talks about, the entrepreneur spends less than 5% of their time working as an entrepreneur, looking forward, right? They spend the rest of the time trying to keep, analyzing the historical information, dealing with the day-to-day, and the rest of that beyond working with clients or servicing the business. And so we're not doing our jobs. As soon as we get liftoff, we stop doing what got us liftoff in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so, Christine, thank you so much for sharing that. And I know we're kind of wrapping up right now, but I was wondering if I can just ask one more question just to kind of close out and just see if you have any advice that you can share with our viewers to power up and maximize their potential based on everything that you've shared today.
Well, I could go on and on about that, right? All the mistakes I've ever made, right? How many failures?
We'll be here till midnight. Just put your PJs on, people.
Exactly. But the main point that I want people to get, and I got this, I just saw this today in an email that I got from somebody, a Native American proverb that was, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I talk about this in my book, calling them a storm warrior. Those are the people who recognize their vulnerability and they ask for help. And that's what it took for me to get through 2 Category 5 hurricanes and realize that I did not know how to ask for help. And I was willing to go it alone and almost paid the price for it. So let's go far together.
Wow.
And that is so important, especially when we talked early on at the top of the show about having some sort of a partnership. Who's that accountability person that you can go to that won't let you slide, right? That won't let you get off of the hook, that's going to ask you those tough questions as to, well, why? And you said you wanted this. Those questions that maybe your spouse won't ask you or a friend won't ask you because they're going, yeah, you're fine. You'll do it tomorrow. Right? But that person that you literally hold you to the carpet.
Right.
Yeah, but also has been there before, right? That's what makes you guys so special, is that you've been there before. It's not just talk.
Yeah. And I think that's important too, is that you want to go somewhere where you trust the individual because, either you've seen them or you can call somebody and say, hey, do you know about this person? And you can see a person's results. In that regard. Thank you so much, Christine, for joining us here on our first segment of Power Up.
First is best.
There you go. Exactly. Well, guys, you have been listening to Christine Parakis, the business strategist, growth architect, who is also the author of 2 books, The Resilient Leader, and then the other book is called, hold on, the Entrepreneurial Essential Roadmap. And we didn't get a chance to talk about it. So in about 30 seconds, tell us about your radio show.
Oh, career invincibility. This is about our journeys, right? I bring on successful people like you guys to talk about the zigs and zags that get us to where we are. Nobody starts out a story with, I started a business and then I became successful, the end, right? So we get to talk about the zigs and zags, and that's the experience that other people are having too, or have had. And we want to understand that we're not alone and that we can get there, wherever it is, there is.
Awesome. And you can follow Christine. How do they follow you, Christine?
ChristineParakis.com, Christine P360 on Twitter, and Christine Parakis on LinkedIn.
And we're going to have all of that into the comments for you so that you can definitely stay in touch with Christine, listen to the radio show, look at the program. I'm telling you, it is a robust program that is, gosh, it's amazing as to what they've provided for you to be able to use to power up your business. Yeah. And so we're so excited that you had the opportunity to come and share this with us. So know who you're going to see on Power Up, Maximize Your Potential. And I am so excited, Eric. I think, you know what? I think we're going to do a couple shows.
You know what? This was, I mean, this first time couldn't have gone off any better. You know, this was incredible. I mean, next week is going to be, you know, great as well. I mean, for those of you tuning in, I'm glad that you were able to do so and you were able to get a lot out of it. Just wait till we have in store for next week. We're going to have a lot of fun. Cheryl and I are going to be talking about some great things that you're going to be able to take away to help maximize your potential and power up, because we're going to continue to bring, you know, innovation where it meets transformation, right, Cheryl?
Absolutely. And you don't want to miss out. So this is going to be every Tuesday at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. So as they say, set your clocks, set your phone, set your computer, whatever you have to do, put it on your calendar, because there you have it. So have an amazing day. I don't know, Eric, I guess we have to close now. I feel like we should just talk more to Christine and bring her back on.
You know, this was a lot of fun. This was a lot of fun. And I'm sure the viewers are going to get so much out of this. I mean, what we did just now, I mean, what we have next in store is just so exciting and so promising. This is great.
Exactly. So I'm not going to give you all of the secrets about who we have coming up, but just know that each one is going